Behind the old walls of Solitude, in the dusty, unknown corners of the Blue Palace, we can find a small story. One of a madman, and he who from which madness is birthed. A hero once, perhaps still, but irrefutably bonkers. Welcome to Odysseys, a show where we tell stories about some of gaming's best lore, quests, and characters. So grab yourself a tea or a coffee and sit back as we tell the tale of the Skyrim quest, The Mind of Madness. Today we're here in Solitude, and while everyone is distracted with Rogvir's execution, we can take a look around. The city street's empty during the event. It's kind of nice to have this lonely moment to take in the city. Its history, architecture, and atmosphere, without the hustle and bustle of its populace. But in this glade, nearby the Hall of the Dead, we can spy one man dawdling idly by, his mind scattered as he mutters to himself.
You help me. You help people, right? That's what you do. My master has abandoned me, abandoned his people, and nothing I say can change his mind. Now he refuses to even see me. He says I interrupt his vacation. It's been so many years. Won't you please help?
We're the heroic Dragonborn, after all. Finding a missing master shouldn't be too much trouble. We can ask him for some more information.
He is a great man, but one rarely praised. He rules twin empires that span the length and breadth of our minds. All know him, but few can name him. But he has forbidden me from saying his name. He says it distracts him, and woe to those who draw his ire. But you will know him when you see him. He's the one who made me like this. Last I saw him, he was visiting a friend in the Blue Palace. But no one as mundane as a Jarl. No, such people are below him. No, he went into the forbidden wing of the palace to speak with an old friend. Said it had been ages since they had last had tea. Oh, and you'll need the hip bone. It's very important. No entering Pelagius's wing without that.
This master sounds like an interesting man, but hidden within Dervinen's dialogue here are a few little clues we can latch onto. A ruler of twin empires who trawls the depths of consciousness, playing games with people and toying with their minds. Those familiar with the Shivering Isles might be reminded of the lands of mania and dementia, two shades of madness. Characteristically unsubtle, it seems we seek the Daedric prince, Sheogorath. We can make our way over to the Blue Palace with our hip bone, home of the Pelagius wing Dervinen mentioned. Moss and leaves cling to the walls of the old palace as it stands sturdy over the city, teetering precariously over the inlet from the Sea of Ghosts. A good metaphor, one could say, for the fragility of its power. It is a place that chews up ruler after ruler and spits them out, thousands vying for the seat over millennia. And these days aren't much different, as the Stormcloaks lick hungrily at the borders. Ulfric Stormcloak, keen to insert himself among the lineage. Countless windows peer down at us as we enter the courtyard, as if the keep itself is judging us. Nothing happens here without ghosts knowing. Jarl Illisif the Fair sits here, the current High Queen of Skyrim. Her husband, the last king, having fallen in a duel with Ulfric. We appear to have interrupted court.
I swear to you, unnatural magics are coming from that cave. There are strange noises and lights. We need someone to investigate.
Then we will immediately send out a legion to scour the cave and secure the town. Hafingar's people will always be safe under
Your
my
Eminence, my scrying has suggested nothing in the area. Dragon Bridge is under Imperial control. This is likely superstitious nonsense.
Perhaps a more tempered reaction might be called for?
Oh, yes, of course, you were right. Falk, tell Captain Aldous I said to assign a few extra soldiers to Dragonbridge.
Thank you, Jarl Elisif. But about the cave?
I will have someone take care of the cave as well, Varnius. You can rest easy. You're dismissed.
Interesting. But we're here on other business at the moment. It's clear Jarl Elisif leans on her advisors heavily. They, stemming the tide of her empathetic passion. While yes, it would serve the people of Dragonsbridge to help out directly, amassing such a force could provoke the Stormcloaks and destabilize the region further. We'll have to see if we can help out, but first, let us ask Falk Firebeard if we can take a peek into the Pelagius wing.
Absolutely not. That wing has been sealed for hundreds of years, and for good reason. They say the ghost of Pelagius the Mad still haunts it. Ghost or not, there are reminders of his dark rule that are best left buried away.
Well, that's comforting. But we gave Dervinin our word, so I suppose we'll just have to make our own way in. Coming to the northeastern end of the castle, we can find the kitchens, where Odar busies himself with the day's meals. The servants Una and Erdi mosey about their chambers, likely waiting for the court to conclude, so they can get to sweeping up all the dirt courtiers have tracked in. We can ask them about the wing.
Not in your life. It's dangerous in there, and Falk doesn't even like me and Erdi going in every year to clean out the spiders.
Oh, I'd get in trouble for that. It's not allowed. Besides, it's scary in there.
It's clear they also have some apprehension towards the wing, to put it lightly. But a little white lie never hurt anyone, so we'll just say Falk told us to check it out.
If you really want to, just be careful of the ghost. He snuck up on me once and scared me sick. It took a week for me to feel better.
With that, Una gives us the key, and we can sneak on over to the wing. Hopefully she doesn't get into any trouble. But then again, handing out castle keys to random passerbys isn't the best for security. What if we were an assassin? Good thing we're only here to excise the Daedric Prince of Madness. Routine stuff. Directly across, on the southwestern end of the castle, we can find the carved wooden door and use our key to enter. Immediately, we can see just how unused this area is. Countless chairs and tables stacked for later use, covered in cobwebs. Pots and pans and cups and bottles are strewn over the floor, as if someone flew into a rage and barged through the area. All the candles are still lit though, illuminating the place nicely for us. I wonder who bothers to do that. But if Una's talk of a ghost is to be believed, then perhaps the spirit keeps the place lit itself somehow. The man this place was named for, Pelagius the Mad, has a book written about him that we can find, detailing the nature of his rule.
The man who would be emperor of all Tamriel was born Therese Pelagius Septim, a prince of the royal family of Wayrest in the Third Era, 119, at the end of the glorious reign of his uncle, Antiochus I. Wayrest had been showered by much preference during the years before Pelagius's birth, for King Magnus was Antiochus's favourite brother. It is hard to say when Pelagius's madness first manifested itself. For, in truth, the first 10 years of his life were marked by much insanity in the land itself. When Pelagius was just over a year old, Antiochus died, and his daughter, Quintira, assumed the throne to the acclaim of all. Quintira II was Pelagius's cousin, and an accomplished mystic and sorceress. If she had sufficient means to peer into the future, she would have surely fled the palace. The story of the War of the Red Diamond has been told in many other scholarly journals, but, as most historians agree, Quintira II's reign was usurped by her and Pelagius's cousin Uriel by the power of his mother Potema, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude. The year after her coronation, Quintira was trapped in Glenpoint and imprisoned in the imperial dungeons there. All of Tamriel exploded into warfare as Prince Uriel took the throne as Uriel III, and High Rock, because of the imprisoned empress's presence there, was the location of some of the bloodiest battles. Pelagius's father, King Magnus, allied himself with his brother Sepphoris against the usurper emperor, and brought the wrath of Uriel III and Queen Potema down on Wayrest. Pelagius, his brothers and sisters, and his mother, Uthelia, fled to the Isle of Balfira. Uthelia was of the line of Doreni, and her family manse is still located on that ancient isle even to this day. There is, thankfully, much written record of Pelagius's childhood in Balfira, recorded by nurses and visitors. All who met him described him as a handsome, personable boy, interested in sport, magic, and music. Even assuming a diplomat's lack of candor, Pelagius seemed, if anything, a blessing to the future of the Septim dynasty. When Pelagius was 8, Sepphoris slew Uriel III at the Battle of Ichidag and proclaimed himself Emperor Sepphoris I. For the next 10 years of his reign, Sepphoris battled Potema. Pelagius's first battle was the Siege of Solitude, which ended with Potema's death and the final end of the war. In gratitude, Sepphoris placed Pelagius on the throne of Solitude. As King of Solitude, Pelagius's eccentricities of behavior began to be noticeable. As a favorite nephew of the emperor, few diplomats to Solitude made critical commentary about Pelagius. For the first 2 years of his reign, Pelagius was, at the very least, noted for his alarming shifts in weight. 4 months after taking the throne, a diplomat from Ebonheart called Pelagius a hale and hearty soul, with a heart so big it widens his waist. 5 months after that, the visiting princess of Firsthold wrote to her brother that the king gripped my hand, and it felt like I was being clutched by a skeleton. Pelagius is greatly emaciated, indeed. Sepphoris never married, and died childless 3 years after the Siege of Solitude. As the only surviving sibling, Pelagius's father Magnus left the throne of Wayrest and took residence at the imperial city as Emperor Magnus I. Magnus was elderly, and Pelagius was his oldest living child, so the attention of Tamriel focused on Solitude. By this time, Pelagius's eccentricities were becoming infamous. There are many legends about his acts as King of Solitude, but few well-documented cases exist. It is known that Pelagius locked the young princes and princesses of Silvanar in his room with him, only releasing them when an unsigned declaration of war was slipped under the door. When he tore off his clothes during a speech he was giving at a local festival, his advisors apparently decided to watch him more carefully. On the orders of Magnus, Pelagius was married to a beautiful heiress of an ancient dark elf noble family, Kataraya Ra'atheme. Nordic kings who marry dark elves seldom improve their popularity. There are two reasons most scholars give for the union. Magnus was trying to cement relations with Ebenhart, where the Ratatheme clan hailed. Ebenhart's neighbour, Mournhold, had been a historic ally of the Empire since the very beginning, and the royal consort of Queen Baranzaya had won many battles in the War of the Red Diamond. Ebenhart had a poorly kept secret of aiding Uriel III and Potema. The other reason for the marriage was more personal. Kataraya was as shrewd a diplomat as she was beautiful. If any creature was capable of hiding Pelagius's madness, it was she. On the 8th of Second Seed, 3rd Era 145, Magnus I died quietly in his sleep. Joleth, Pelagius' sister, took over the throne of Solitude, and Pelagius and Kataraya rode to the imperial city to be crowned Emperor and Empress of Tamriel. It is said that Pelagius fainted when the crown was placed on his head, but Kataraya held him up, so only those closest to the thrones could see what had happened. Like so many Pelagius stories, this cannot be verified. Pelagius III never truly ruled Tamriel. Kataraya and the Elder Council made all the decisions and only tried to keep Pelagius from embarrassing all. Still, stories of Pelagius III's reign exist. It is said that when the Argonian ambassador from Blackrose came to court, Pelagius insisted on speaking in all grunts and squeaks, as that was the Argonians' natural language. It is known that Pelagius was obsessed with cleanliness, and many guests are reported waking to the noise of an early morning scrub-down of the imperial palace. The legend of Pelagius, while inspecting the servants' work, suddenly defecating on the floor to give them something to do, is probably apocryphal. When Pelagius began actually biting and attacking visitors to the imperial palace, it was decided to send him to a private asylum. Kataraya was proclaimed regent 2 years after Pelagius took the throne. For the next 6 years, the emperor stayed in a series of institutions and asylums. Traitors to the empire have many lies to spread about this period. Whispered stories of hideous experiments and tortures performed on Pelagius have almost become accepted as fact. The noble lady Kataraya became pregnant shortly after the emperor was sent away, and rumours of infidelity, and even more absurd, conspiracies to keep the sane emperor locked away, ran amok. As Kataraya proved, her pregnancy came about after a visit to her husband's cell. With no other evidence, as loyal subjects, we are bound to accept the Empress's word on the matter. Her second child, who had reigned for many years as Uriel IV, was the child of her union with her consort Lariat, and publicly acknowledged as such. On a warm night in Sun's Dawn, in his 34th year, Pelagius III died after a brief fever in his cell at the Temple of Kinnereth in the Isle of Bethany. Kataraya I reigned for another 46 years, before passing the scepter onto the only child she had with Pelagius, Cassinda. Pelagius's wild behaviour has made him perversely dear to the province of his birth and death. The second of Sun's Dawn, which may or may not be the anniversary of his death, is celebrated as Mad Pelagius, the time when foolishness of all sorts is encouraged. And so, one of the least desirable emperors in the history of the Septim dynasty has become one of the most famous ones.
A controversial figure, to be sure. And with such a mind running amok on this side of the castle, it's no wonder servants and staff fear to step here. We can continue through the wing, but as we do, the air begins to shift, and soon we find ourselves somewhere else, no longer behind the walls of the castle, but in a bleak, misty forest. From the distance, springs a jovial voice, and another, a little glummer.
So many undesirables to contend with. Naysayers, buffoons, detractors. Why, my headsman hasn't slept in 3 days.
You are far too hard on yourself, my dear, sweet, homicidally insane Pelagius. What would the people do without you? Dance, sing, smile, grow old? You are the best septum that's ever ruled. Well, except for that Martin fella. But he turned into a dragon god, and that's hardly sporting. You know, I was there for that whole sordid affair. Marvelous time. Butterflies, blood, a fox, a severed head, ho ho ho, and the cheese to die for.
Yes, as you've said countless times before.
Harumph! Well then, if you're going to be like that, perhaps it's best I take my leave. A good day to you, sir. I said good day!
Yes, go. Leave me to my ceaseless responsibilities and burdens.
A strange man stands before us, above a table set for a feast. His companion Pelagius, now vanished. We can approach the man and ask where we are.
Inside the mind of Pelagius, silly. Oh, is it your first time? Pelagius the Third. Now, surely even you know about Pelagius's decree. On his deathbed, and this was inspired, he forbade death! That's right! Death! Outlawed!
Interesting. But back to the task at hand. We can tell him we bring a message.
Really? Ooh, what kind of message? A song? A summons? Wait, I know! A death threat written on the back of an Argonian concubine. Those are my favorites. Well, spit it out, mortal. I haven't got an eternity. Actually, I do. Little joke. But seriously, what's the message?
We can relay the message that we were asked to retrieve him.
Were you now? By whom? Wait! Don't tell me. I want to guess. Was it Molag? No. Little Tim, the Toymaker's son, What? The ghost of King Lysandas? Or was it one? Yes! Stanley, the talking grapefruit from Passwall! I'm wrong on all accounts, aren't I? No matter. Honestly, I don't want to know. Why ruin the surprise? But more to the point, do you, tiny, puny, expendable little mortal, actually think you can convince me to leave? Because that's crazy! You do realize who you're dealing with here?
No.
Wrong! Actually, you do, sort of. I am a part of you, little mortal. I'm a shadow in your subconscious, a blemish on your fragile little psyche. You know me, you just don't know it. Sheogorath, Daedric Prince of Madness, at your service.
So does that mean you'll come back?
Now that's the real question, isn't it? Because honestly, how much time off could a demented Daedra really need? So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave. That's right, I'm done. Holiday complete. Time to return to the humdrum day-to-day. On one condition. You have to find the way out first. Good luck with that.
Easy enough.
Is it? Care to take a look around? This is not, I dare say, the Solitude Botanical Gardens. Have you any idea where you are? Where you truly are? Welcome to the deceptively verdant mind of the Emperor Pelagius the Third. That's right! You're in the head of a dead, homicidally insane monarch! Now, I know what you're thinking. Can I still rely on my swords and spells and sneaking and all that nonsense? Sure. Or you could use the Wabbajack! Huh? Didn't see that coming, did you?
With that, we're gifted a strange staff, the Wabbajack. Apparently our one tool for getting out of here. Shir returns to his feasting, and we're left with a choice of paths deeper into the reaches of Pelagius's mind. Our compass still seems to work, so we'll head down the eastern path first. As we do, Shir Gorath's voice rings through the trees.
Ah! Now this is a sad path. Pelagius hated and feared many things. Assassins, wild dogs, the undead, pumpernickel. But the deepest, keenest hatred was for himself. The attacks he makes on himself can be seen here fully. They're always carried out on the weakest part of his fragile self. The self-loathing enhances Pelagius's anger. But his confidence will shrink with every hit. You must bring the two into balance.
And indeed, we can see a representation of this self-hatred. A small Pelagius, standing sullen and defeated, as a soldier of the imperial army wails on him with no relent. It's clear, this madness stems from a loathing not of the anterior, a confidence whittled down by years of abuse, perhaps exacerbated by Pelagius's ascension to the throne, a hearty amount of imposter syndrome accompanying it. Using our newfound Wabbajack, we can put things in order, swapping the stature of the two figures. Well, that sorts that out. Next, we can head down the northern path.
You've headed down the path of dreams. Unfortunately for you, Pelagius suffered night terrors from a young age. All you need to do is find something to wake our poor Pelagius up. You'll find his terrors easy to repel, but persistent.
Oh joy. The forest turns a blood red around us as we come upon the slumbering form of Pelagius, his mind a riot of monsters and fears. But, using our Wabbajack, we can turn these nightmares into more homey comforts. With that, we can head down the last path.
Oh, good choice! Well, good for me. I find everyone being out to get you so terribly entertaining. You might find it less so. You see, Pelagius's mother was, well, let us say, unique. Although I suppose, in the grand scheme of things, she was fairly average for a septim. That woman wielded fear like a cleaver. Or did she wield a cleaver and make people afraid? I never get that part right. Oh, but she taught her son well. Pelagius learned at a very early age that danger could come from anywhere, at any time, delivered by anyone.
At the end of the path, we find a Colosseum, set up for a death battle between two Antronachs. A Pokemon battle between us and Pelagius. But it seems he's well versed in the game, for every transformation of ours is counted. That is, until we spy two suspiciously placed guards at Pelagius's flank. I don't suppose a little Wabbajack shot over there could hurt anyone? Ah well, that'll work. Returning to Shir Gorath, we can report our success in fixing Pelagius's mind.
Fixed. is such a subjective term. I think treated is far more appropriate, don't you? Like one does to a rash, or an arrow in the face. Ah, but no matter. Heartless mortal that you are, you've actually succeeded and survived. I am first to honor my end of the bargain. So, congratulations. You're free to go. I have been known to change my mind. So, go. Really. Pelagius Septim the Third, once the mad emperor of Tamriel, now so boringly sane. I always knew he had it in him. Well, I suppose it's back to the Shivering Isles. The trouble Haskell can get into while I'm gone simply boggles the mind. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Clothes? Check. Beard? Check. Luggage? Luggage? Now, where did I leave my luggage?
Master, you've taken me back. Does this mean we're going home? Oh, happy times. I can't wait to...
Yes, that's quite enough celebration. Let's send you ahead, shall we? As for you, my little mortal minion, feel free to keep the Wabbajack as a symbol of my... I'll just take the damn thing. You take care of yourself now. And if you ever find yourself up in New Sheo, do look me up. We can share a strawberry tart. Ha ha! Ta-ta!
And would you look at that? We're back in the Pelagius wing. Still musty as ever, but perhaps now a little less haunted. We can return to normalcy as best we can after encountering such a being. Glad Dervinin now has his master back, and all is well. But that conversation we stumbled upon as we entered the palace sounded interesting. Perhaps someone should offer to check out Wolf Skull Cave, just in case. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's story, and let us know if you'd like to see more. A quick shout out to our members. Thane Creos 8, Anna A 2640, Naj Kula, Renee, Patrick Connaughton 4171, Speed of the Earth, Nathan Armstrong 6085, Call Me Jibs, Daney, and Callum Kenny. Subscribe for more oddities, Odysseys, observations, open roads, opinions, and live streams over on Twitch. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.